Lindsay Elizabeth Buziak was 24 years old and working as a real estate agent in Victoria, British Columbia, in early 2008. Described as kind, outgoing, and driven. Lindsay had been building a reputation as a rising star in the local housing market. She worked with Remax Camasan, one of the largest agencies in the area, and had recently closed several high-value transactions. In late January 2008, Lindsay received a phone call from a woman who claimed she and her husband were relocating to Victoria and looking to purchase a home in the $1 million range. The caller had a foreign accent that Lindsay later described to friends and family as a bit Spanish-sounding. She asked the woman how she had gotten her personal number. Her caller replied that a previous client had referred her. Lindsay was suspicious. The entire call felt unusual to her. She even confided in a friend that the woman's tone didn't seem authentic. But the lure of a major commission and pressure to grow her career persuaded her to proceed. She told her boyfriend, Jason Zalo, a mortgage broker whose family was well-connected in local real estate circles. Jason offered to be nearby during the showing, just in case. On Saturday, February 2, 2008, Lindsay and Jason had a late lunch together. Around 4:24 p.m. they left the restaurant. Lindsay likely went home to change clothes before her 5:30 p.m. appointment. Jason went to pick up a friend from an auto shop, and the two headed together toward the property where Lindsay would be meeting the supposed couple. The house was located at 1702 D'Souza Place, a newly built property in the Gordon Head neighborhood of Saanich, just north of Victoria, around 5:30 p.m. Witnesses saw Lindsay greet a man and woman outside the house. The man was described as tall, white, and well-dressed, with dark hair. The woman had long blonde hair and wore a distinct black and white dress with a bold pattern. Lindsay was seen shaking hands with the couple before they entered the home together. These witnesses later told police that Lindsay's body language suggested she didn't know the two people she was meeting. She appeared polite, but reserved, and her demeanor was slightly stiff, as if she were meeting strangers. Jason and his friend arrived near the home around 5:40 p.m., Jason said. He saw what looked like someone moving through the glass of the front door, so he waited in the car to give Lindsay time to complete her showing. At 6:05 p.m., he sent Lindsay a text saying he was outside. She never read it. After about 10 minutes of waiting, Jason approached the door and rang the bell. When no one answered, he tried calling Lindsay. Still no response. At this point, he grew concerned. He and his friend walked around the house and found the back patio door unlocked. Jason entered the home, calling Lindsay's name. Upstairs, in the master bedroom, he discovered Lindsay's body. She had been stabbed multiple times. Authorities were called immediately. There was no sign of forced entry. Lindsay's wallet and personal belongings were still in place. Nothing had been stolen. Her car was parked out front. The couple she had met had vanished. The scene inside the house was disturbing and puzzling. Investigators quickly determined that Lindsay had been attacked in what appeared to be a targeted and personal act. The lack of defensive wounds suggested she had been caught off guard. There was no evidence of a struggle. No fingerprints or usable DNA were recovered from the scene. The attackers had seemingly left through the back door, which had been left ajar. Tire tracks on the street suggested a vehicle had been waiting nearby. A canvass of the area yielded little information. The neighbors saw nothing unusual, only a brief window in which Lindsay met the unknown pair. The most intriguing clue was the phone used to contact Lindsay. Authorities traced it to a prepaid mobile device purchased months earlier in Vancouver. It had been activated shortly before the initial call to Lindsay and was used only for that purpose. The phone traveled to Victoria via ferry the day before the appointment and was deactivated shortly after Lindsay's death. The name given to purchase the phone was fake. Investigators concluded the entire interaction had been carefully orchestrated. One early theory was that the case might be linked to drug activity. Just weeks before her death, Lindsay had reached out to an old acquaintance in Calgary. That acquaintance was arrested soon after in connection with a large narcotics investigation. Some speculated that Lindsay had witnessed or heard something that made her a target. However, police were unable to find any evidence connecting Lindsay to the case. Another theory was that this was a personal act. The level of overkill in the attack. The number of wounds inflicted suggested anger. It didn't resemble the calculated efficiency of a professional hit. Some believed that someone in Lindsay's social or professional circle might have been involved or had provided information to the perpetrators. Real estate showings can involve scheduled disclosures, personal data, and inside knowledge, all of which might have helped someone set up such an encounter. There was also the theory of a thrill killing, a crime carried out by a pair of individuals for excitement or psychological satisfaction. The use of a female accomplice may have been intentional, designed to lower Lindsay's guard. Female presence during real estate showings can make clients seem safer and more trustworthy. Despite extensive investigation, no solid suspects were named. Over 1,400 people were interviewed. Police chased hundreds of leads, and the case remained active. But years passed without charges or new public evidence. The public fascination with the case only grew. Online forums dissected the crime, offering maps, timelines, theories, and speculation. True crime programs covered the case. Podcasts and documentaries revisited it repeatedly, emphasizing the elaborate planning and the sheer brazenness of the midday attack. Yet the core questions remained unanswered. Who made that call? Who were the two individuals seen at the property? Who had knowledge of Lindsay's schedule, her real estate listings, and the client referral? Lindsay's death shattered her family. Her father, Jeff Buziak, quickly became the most outspoken advocate for justice. A retired sales manager, Jeff poured his grief into activism, setting up a website, creating tip lines, and sharing Lindsay's story publicly. Over the years, he participated in media interviews, podcasts, true crime features, and memorial events, always urging anyone with information to come forward. The family's pain was made worse by the lack of progress in the investigation. Birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays passed with no resolution. Lindsay's sister Sarah struggled to move forward, haunted by the suddenness and cruelty of what had happened. Jeff became the face of the fight for answers. His annual memorial walk for Lindsay, held each year on the anniversary of her death, became a fixture in Victoria. Dozens of community members joined him each February, carrying signs and calling for justice. He later offered a reward of $500,000 for information leading to an arrest and conviction. The funds were raised through a combination of family contributions and private backers. The reward remains one of the largest ever offered in a Canadian homicide investigation. The Buziak family also faced frustration with law enforcement. Jeff expressed criticism of the investigation, suggesting that leads weren't being followed and that tips were ignored. Tensions between the family and police occasionally played out in public, though authorities consistently maintained that the case remained open and active. Lindsay's friends remained devastated by her loss. Many recalled her laugh, her kindness, and her excitement about the future. She had talked about traveling, marriage, and growing her career. All of it ended in one tragic moment. The Saanich Police Department, along with other law enforcement agencies, has continued to investigate the case over the years. In 2010, they received assistance from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police's Behavioral Sciences team. In 2013, the investigation was handed off to the Vancouver Island Integrated Major Crime Unit. One development came in 2021, when police confirmed that new DNA analysis techniques had been applied to evidence from the scene. Advancements in genetic genealogy and forensic technology provided hope for new breakthroughs. However, no major announcements followed. Anonymous online post claiming responsibility for the crime was briefly investigated but was ultimately deemed not credible. Police continue to receive tips, but few have led to new leads. Jeff Buziak has maintained contact with private investigators and legal experts, sometimes pursuing leads independently. His dedication has kept the story in the public eye. He created a Facebook page, participates in online forums, and speaks at events around Canada. In recent years, increased attention on cold cases has renewed public interest in Lindsay's story. Podcasts, such as Case File, Crime Junkie, Still a Mystery, have re-examined the case, introducing it to a new generation of listeners and true crime followers. Local police continue to insist that the case is active and that progress is being made behind the scenes. They have declined to share specifics about suspects or evidence, citing the need to protect the integrity of the case. Lindsay's story has become part of Canadian true crime history. Her case is regularly listed among the country's most mysterious and unsettling cold cases. The circumstances: a young woman lured to a vacant house by strangers, in broad daylight, never to walk out again, continue to disturb and confound the public. The real estate community in British Columbia responded by implementing new safety procedures. Agents are now more cautious about private showings, often requiring identity verification and appointments made through official channels. Some offices have developed internal policies to ensure agents never meet new clients alone without a preliminary screening. Lindsay's legacy also includes the ongoing reward. As of the most recent reports, the $500,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction still stands. It remains available to anyone able to provide credible and verifiable information about the individuals responsible. Her story continues to inspire conversations about safety, justice, and persistence. Each year, the Memorial Walk in Victoria draws attention to the case. Her father's determination has become a symbol of what it means to fight for answers, even when the odds feel insurmountable. As of 2025, 17 years after Lindsay's death, the case remains unsolved. No arrests have been made. Police say they continue to pursue active leads, and the file remains open. The reward for information is still active. Those with knowledge are urged to contact Saanich police directly or submit anonymous tips through Greater Victoria Crime Stoppers. For Lindsay's family, friends, and the wider community, closure has not yet come. But the story is not forgotten. Her name remains known, her face familiar, and her case open. Thank you for watching Fatal Secrets of True Crime. Subscribe for more stories like this. Real crimes, hidden truths, and the secrets they tried to bury. Your support helps keep these stories alive and the pressure on for answers. Until next time, remember, every secret eventually comes to light.